tuned in to yet another episode of Key and Carry, where we key.
And we carry.
I'm Damon.
I'm Troy.
And this is our 10th episode.
10th episode.
Coincidentally enough, on
August 10th.
August 10th.
The 10th of August.
Yes. So maybe that's good luck.
Let's hope.
Yes.
Let's hope.
So to 10 more.
True.
At least 10 more. But yes, this is our review for G-Status ATL Hustle, Season 2, Episode 5. Episode 5. Oh, I do not remember what the name of it is.
I can't undo what I did.
That name is apt. Because this episode definitely, I feel like people made a bunch of mistakes that they're going to regret.
Definitely.
But yeah, before we get into the episode, y'all, this episode was carrying, so we definitely need some wine, a wine sponsor. That's not our sponsor. But yeah, we got Trestoria Rosé wine. But yeah, it's rosé wine. I got it from Aldi's. I feel like they're like the kings of like cheap, good wine. So yeah, hopefully it's good. It's 13%. So let's cheers to the 10th episode of Key and Carry. I love the like color of rosé. It just looks so fancy. Yeah. So yeah, let's cheers to that.
10 episodes of Key and Carry.
It's not bad.
That aftertaste.
Yeah. You said horrible.
Going down is good. That aftertaste is good.
I've drunk some pretty shitty wine, so it's not that bad to me. But it's not the best. I think I paid $7 for it.
Get with the paper.
Right?
Well, it's good. It's just that aftertaste. I don't like it. But shit, as everything that happened in this episode, the aftertaste of this wine is probably just gonna be like an afterthought.
Yes.
Because once we dive into the bullshit, the fuckery of this episode,
you're gonna need something like bitter to hold the terrible things that happen in this episode. But so yeah, speaking of that, what were your initial thoughts?
This episode was so, honestly, in my opinion, it wasn't necessary.
The whole episode was unnecessary.
The whole episode wasn't necessary. Like there were a couple of moments in the episode where they were they stood out, or I thought that they were necessary, but for the most part, a good 40 minutes of this episode, maybe a good 30 minutes of this episode, like, wasn't necessary. It was just so much to process.
It's interesting because I thought that this was their best edited episode this season.
Really?
Yes.
That was one of my complaints, honestly.
I wouldn't say the best edited, but I think they did a good job with cutting down on scenes. Okay. The scenes didn't drag on like some of the other episodes where it's like, oh my god, we get it.
Right.
But yeah, this episode was a lot. Like they got to the point and they got to the next episode or next scene.
Which is crazy because like before we said like they should cut down scenes to get to a point, but there were scenes that should have been prolonged and they were cut short for like other scenes. Right. So I was just confused on that. Like, especially towards the end of the episode, there were scenes where it was like, why would you show this person and then not give them like the story time or storyline or whatever? But we'll get to it.
So I also like one thing just to get off the top of my head. I just kind of wanted to have like a quick conversation about like the responsibility of the show. It seems like they are going the route of kind of allowing people to take certain controversial stances. Just off of the fact of showing those stances and opening up the conversation. But I just kind of feel like it's kind of tricky when you go that route because you are displaying certain things that are blatantly ignorant and derogatory towards groups of people that are supporting you. So it's like it's a little weird. I know they're trying to open up the conversation, but I feel like they need to do a better job of having a conversation versus like people just saying ignorant shit and them saying like, oh, well, this is to open up conversation. But it's like, well, what's the point if we never have that conversation? Right. So, you know, just something to know. Like, I was like, yeah, but you're kind of responsible at some point because you're still, showing this person, you're still giving this person airtime on your platform. So, yeah. Also, so the show is bi-weekly, they're saying, but there's an episode that comes out next week.
Yeah.
So it's part 2 of this episode, but isn't that technically just another episode? Yeah. So I don't know. That kind of confused me. But yeah, what were your one of your favorite moments or noticeable moments?
S. Dot sit down with Lando. First of all, during this sit down or his confession, Sherrod's confession, he referred to himself as the Beyonce of the group.
Beyonce?
No, yeah.
Beyonce?
Are you out of your
fucking mind? Beyonce, sweetie, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that an ugly ass bitch like this would even say that. Oh my God, are you fucking insane? Beyonce?
Beyonce, I am so sorry that a bitch like this.
Also, can I note on that this show, I've seen major broadcast networks use Beyonce's name and censor her name. The fact that this show was just so carefree with playing copyrighted music and dropping celebrities that I'm just saying.
They played WAP.
Yeah.
And WAP just came out. So I'm like,
And last episode, they played this episode not this episode. What was the last episode they played? What episode was it? Or Meg Thee Stallion. The episode where Charlie.
Oh, Savage?
Was it Savage? No, they didn't play Meg. They didn't play Meg Thee Stallion. She was featured because Charlie Argyle
they
was
showed her. Yeah.
I don't know sure who it is, but yeah. In that conversation or in that confessional, he refers to himself as the Beyonce. My first thought was he was the luggage that was at the airport waiting for Farrah.
You might have to go straight to the airport.
Okay.
I don't have no luggage.
I'm rolling.
But it's better for you to go home than not have luggage.
No, it's not.
It's not.
But Lando goes on to tell Sherrod Argyle and Charlie basically brought you up during the dinner and they dragged you. And I was like, that's not true. Sherrod's name only came up when they were defending themselves. Sherrod said this. We never said that. So,
right.
Lando is kind of giving delicious vibes.
He was definitely kind of editing.
Yeah, he was
the story. Because it was and I have a shady moment, but we're gonna get to that when that segment comes. But something kind of shady happened when they were talking, and I was just kind of like, you didn't tell the whole tea.
Yeah.
But he didn't really speak on how Delicious was also being very disrespectful, and I kind of feel like that was a theme throughout the episode. Yeah. This episode was very Delicious heavy.
Yeah.
For somebody who definitely rubbed people the wrong way. I don't know I don't know when they decide to edit things. I don't know if they edit the show as it comes out or if it's already edited, but this episode was very Delicious heavy.
Definitely.
For somebody who is definitely not a fan favorite. But yeah, I was just nobody seems to really hold Delicious accountable for the things that she said.
Right.
But
it's more so Charlie as a LGBTQ, I guess, an artist, you should know better. It's well, she should know better too. They're both at fault.
They're both at fault, definitely.
Y'all can't be he told Delicious he insulted Delicious. He insulted Delicious because Delicious insulted him. It wasn't a flat out, he came for Delicious out of nowhere.
Right.
She kept disrespecting him and he said what he said. I'm not saying he's right.
Right.
They're both wrong as fuck.
Yes.
But everybody's oh, Charlie did this and Charlie did that. Nobody's really saying, well, Delicious did this to Charlie to make Charlie react.
Yes.
I'm talking about she called him a million and one niggas, but
we're just it seems like we're not really getting Charlie's side of
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
As much as we're getting Delicious's side.
Just to finish that thought, Sherrod finished this sit down by saying, line these bitches up so I can call them out one by one. And I was like, sir, you were the one talking the most shit about Brendan. So you can't be mad that Charlie and Argyle put the blame on you. It's on camera, you dogging this man. So if you want to line people up, you should have told Brandon what the fuck you said.
Right.
That's just that. And,
can I just say that what he said was worse than what they said?
Very much so.
All they did was shade him for where he works. Okay, whatever. Yeah. But you were talking about how his career is going downhill and all this extra shit.
Right.
But now all of a sudden, see, that's why that's why Sherrod rubs me the wrong way, because he likes to throw the rock and then hide his hand and act like he didn't do anything. And it's like, well, you were also definitely talking shit as well. Let's not, let's not do that.
Right.
So, you know what that kind of reminds me of?
What? Remember BGCT and Rocky, how the show was kind of edited to make it look like the girls are just picking with her for no reason? And then BGC 13, we saw like, oh, she was probably starting shit, like how she was fucking with Sarah. Yeah. And, like a few other girls. And it was probably, came like, a lot of people came to the realization like maybe she was that way on season 10, and then production just edited that show in her favor to make it look like she was just being bullied. I feel like that's Sherrod.
Yeah.
Like, in a way.
Editing definitely will play a role in how things are seen. Like, I mean, they can't edit exactly what comes out of your mouth, but they can make situations look different than how it played out in real life. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the whole sit down was kind of weird to me. I don't even know where Lando fits in this. Yeah. Like, I don't even know. I didn't know he was friends with Sherrod. Right. I don't know. But yeah, Sherrod. Next. No, but yeah, Sherrod just, I don't know. Sherrod rubs me the wrong way. Yeah. I want to like Sherrod. I liked Sherrod last season, kind of, but this season is just kind of like, we're not seeing you really do anything. We're not really seeing a lot of people do stuff, but to me, it's like, you're talking about how you gonna line these bitches up. Bro, worry about your career. Right. Worry about getting the next gig, doing the next thing, following the next thing that will make you better than where you are now. Like, why are you so up in this shit that don't matter? Because then when they attack you, you're gonna start crying. So like, why even waste everybody's time? Like, so yeah, that sit down, it didn't irritate me, but I was just like,
like, it's just like, if you're gonna tell the story, like, tell the whole story. They weren't dragging Sherrod, they were defending themselves and telling Brandon, like, Sherrod said that, we never said that. Right. And then it also came up like, Lando asked Sherrod, like, did you ever say he was homeless or he was a prostitute? And Sherrod was like, I never said that. So, no, Sherrod was like, I never said that. You could ask Delicious. She was sitting right there. So Lando was like, oh, so it must have came from Charlie. And then Sherrod was like, it had to have came from them because I didn't say it. So who the fuck did it come from?
Who said it?
Yeah. Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Yeah. Who said it? Who said it?
That's what I want to know. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Did you have a standout moment?
Okay, so my standout moment was my first standout moment was actually seeing Devon and his boyfriend, Dewan. So I know this was a heavy episode and we'll get more into that. But yeah, I kind of like seeing a couple on the show. I think this is the first couple we've ever seen on the show. Yeah, so yeah, it was cute to see them moving into their apartment. He said Devon said Dewan has a beard care business. I did think that was dope. Which is interesting,
me having a beard, I'm like, cool, that's dope. Yeah. Like, beard hygiene or beard maintenance is like the rage right now.
Right. So that was cute. And then, Devon has his catering. Devon, we would love to see you cook.
Yes. We'd love to sample some of your cooking.
Yes, sample some of your cooking. I think it would be a really cute idea if he invited people over and kind of taught them how to make something. An idea for me for your charge. But like yeah, he could have invited people over and like just kind of taught them how to make something. And while they're cooking, they're just talking and chatting and stuff. But yeah, I just thought it was a cute moment. Love, black queer love.
They're a really handsome couple.
They are. They're really handsome. I feel like Dewan, he said that Dewan is controlling. I don't know their relationship, but it kind of, from the conversation, it just kind of seemed like Dewan gives me the way our guy treats Charlie, where it's like, I'm just trying to steer you in the right direction. Like, kind of like when he was telling him about throwing a drink. Yeah. He was like, well, why you like, he's kind of the voice of reason. Right. So I like that Dewan has somebody that is kind of, I guess his equal, but like they're like yin and yang. Yeah. Like they, he's calming him down. Right. He's, So, and I noticed that he said that like, I guess the Dewan on the show isn't necessarily the Dewan that like he goes to bed with, which makes a lot of sense because you can't be that way all the time. But I would be interested to see that Devon. I would be interested to see that Devon.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I promise I'm not drunk. I would be interested to see that Devon.
Okay.
That's with Devon.
Yeah, I did like that scene. Them moving in, and then Devon talking about their careers, and I guess their history on past shows, and I guess how people used to like talk about their relationship. But I did get that Devon is kind of like not controlling, but he just wants the best for Devon. Like if you know there's drama affiliated with certain people in this group, you have a business, you have a brand, you should steer clear of that. Yes. And I did like that he was like, why did you throw the drink?
Why? Now why you do that?
Yeah, like why would you throw the drink at the PF Chang's? I do like their dynamic. I like their relationship.
Yeah. And also, okay, so Akeem. Okay, so of course Dewan doesn't like Akeem. It's from a past it's from a past show.
Ooh, hands on the camera.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not trying to.
It's your hands. It's your hands. It's your hands.
I apologize.
It's your hands.
But this,
it's your hands.
I'm right here.
It's your hands.
My hands are right here.
Your hands
They're still
should
not there.
stay there.
It's your hands. It's your hands. But sorry, let me keep my hands out of the camera. So sorry.
This episode is just gonna have you feeling all types of ways.
It really is.
Go ahead.
That 13%. That 13%, mama. Anyway. He said, okay, so yeah, Dewan doesn't like Akeem for, I would say, some valid reasons. I guess Akeem tried to hit up Dewan, or Akeem tried to hit up Devon and like, I don't know, get something popping, I guess. And, of course, Dewan got defensive, rightfully so. And, yeah, so he doesn't really care for Akeem, but Devon is very keen on working with Akeem. And I'm just kind of curious as to what they're working on.
Right.
I know Akeem is an executive producer on the show, but how does that tie into,
right,
everything else, So I was just curious about that. But
did you also catch the shade where Devon was like, Akeem tried to message me, but I'm not into people that's 2 to 3 times older than me? I was like, God damn,
you'd have to shade him like that. Like,
Devon,
do you think that's why he's so sweaty? I don't think older people sweat like that.
Not really. I don't know. Like,
maybe he's like opening his pores, like trying to.
He should do that in a song, not in front of the camera. Like, detox at home, sir, not when you're in the confessional.
Right.
But,
so yeah, it was a cute moment.
Yeah.
Did you have another moment?
Yeah. Delicious radio interview with Mikey kind of goes back to how you said we're getting Delicious inside, not really so much of Charlie's, but the fact that she got on a radio station and said that she had sex with Charlie. First of all, maybe I'm late, but I didn't know that you can go on a radio and be like, I fucked this person. I guess it's freedom of speech, but to me, it's just tacky as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that Mikey allowed her, he gave her the chance to give her side of the story. And it wasn't so much about, like, how I grew up and how I discovered, like, I'm kind of different. I wanted her journey through transitioning into becoming a woman and all of that. It was more so, I have this time to attack this person that insulted me, so let me do that. Not let the people get to know me, more about my story. But whatever. So she did mention, she was like, she told Mike that I was in a certain situation where I was insulted by a guy because of my gender or whatever. And she left out the part that she said, like, oh, we exchanged insults, but she didn't say, like, oh, once he walked away, like, I called him a nigga. Right. And then I called him another nigga. Right. And then I started rapping and I called him another nigga. She left that part out. So you can't pick and choose what you want to do. Like, if they're fans of the show, they're going to see it.
But that goes back to what we were saying a couple episodes ago. You can't pick and choose when people talk shit about your friend, you can't pick and choose who you want to tell, or who you want to, whose words you want to repeat, I guess.
Right. That kind of goes to my next point. Her justification for calling Charlie a faggot. She's like, oh, I don't think he's a faggot. He was just doing some faggot shit in the moment. Somebody wasn't S. Dot and Roman doing faggot shit in a moment when they were talking about Brandon, and you didn't call them out, you didn't bring that up, but you decided to tell Brandon like, "Oh, they said you work at California Pizza Kitchen," and then
I'll just say this: I have a different. I think some people operate under the whole. So there's this Chris Rock, like there's this bit he does where it's like there's niggas and then there's black people, and so I feel like that mentality, people have that mentality where it's like there's faggots and then there's gay people. And I personally don't operate under that mind frame. I feel like faggot is a derogatory term for gay people. I don't think you being a faggot means that you're this or that. It's just a derogatory term. So I feel like when people say stuff like that, I'm just kind of like, whatever, girl. Like you can reclaim the word faggot if you want, but I just don't think like, oh, you're being a faggot, that means that you're messy, you're this, you're that. No, that just means that you're messy. Right. Like that's it. It doesn't mean you're a faggot. Faggot is a derogatory term for, you know, queer people. So I don't know. We differ on that, but I just feel like if that's the way you want to go, then like Delicious, you are also being messy for bringing this up in a public place at his event. You could have waited and you could have got them together and then been like, hey, like, because this ain't had nothing to do with anybody else on the show. Like this only had to do with Charlie, our guy, Delicious, and Brandon and Sherrod, but he wasn't there. But like, you brought it up in front of everybody, and on top of that, you didn't even tell Brandon all of what was said. So it's like you're also being messy. So by that, your logic, are you also a faggot? Like, I'm not calling her a faggot. I'm just saying, like, by her logic, it doesn't make sense.
Look how you had to come, sister. You had to come as the whore of charm school.
I do not think that you should call me a whore. That is where I draw the line.
The behavior that you exhibited was whore-like. The whore jumped out, and then it jumped back in.
She didn't call him a faggot. She said his behavior was faggot-like. And I'm just like, girl. Like, I can't believe she really tried to justify that shit with that. Like, oh, if I see you doing some faggot shit, I'm going to call you out on it. Or if I see you doing some bitch shit, I'm going to call you out on it. Like, first of all, who the fuck are you to call anybody out on anything? You being shady. You can't even be a buck with your so-called brother, your best friend. Like,
I just want to know what the faggot shit was. Because they owned up to the CPK shade. So, what did they do that wasn't, like, like, I'm confused as to what shady shit or what, you know, messy shit that they did, because you said, oh, they shaded you. They were like, yeah, we said CPK because he works at CPK, and then now that translates to y'all were being messy and y'all were like, they didn't deny that they were talking shit, they said it. So I'm just like, if anything, you're kind of the messy one because you're not telling him the whole truth. But
I also I'm starting to think that she might have told either Sherrod. I think Delicious might have told Sherrod that Brendan was either homeless or he did escort, and Charlie might have told that to our guy. Yeah, and I'm not Charlie, but I feel like Delicious told that to Sherrod. Sherrod repeated it in front of our guy and Charlie. I don't feel like our guy and Charlie was like he was homeless, he was a prostitute. I feel like Brendan might have told Delicious that. Delicious passed it to Sherrod, and Sherrod passed it on, like being messy. That's how I see it, because when Lando was like, who said he was a prostitute and homeless? Sherrod was like, I don't know. It must have had to came from like Charlie and our guys. So how do, like, you were sitting there with him? How you gonna say I don't know where it came from? Like,
I don't think
y'all said that shit. Like, somebody in that group, it had to be Charlie, not Charlie, but it had to be Sherrod, because at that sit down, Delicious wasn't really engaging with our guy and Charlie, the way Sherrod was. That's another thing. Sherrod seems really thirsty for friends. Because at the beginning of the season, remember how him and Charlie were kind of like at odds? Yeah. And then at the sit down, Sherrod came and was like, girl, you know, we ain't seen in a while, but this was friend. It's like he's just, as soon as he sat down with Brandon, his energy shifted. It was not Brandon. As soon as he sat down with Charlie, his energy was like, it shifted. Like, I know you don't like Brandon, but why would you drag this dude in front of Charlie? Somebody who's been dragging you since season 1, you know, for your profession. So, Sherrod's a bird. He's too old to be such a fucking bird. Yeah. That's sad. He's a year older than me.
Part of me is still wanting him to do better. I feel like
so fucking dumb.
I feel like he can still kind of see the potential in him. Okay. But I just feel like he needs I just feel like he needs to chill. I feel like he needs to grow up. And that's not even on, like, I'm not trying to put an age on anybody's growth, but I just feel like he needs to mature into...
He should step away from the show for a while.
Yes.
Get himself together, like, mentally, like, get himself together.
Yep.
Maybe come back when he's, like, a stronger person. Like, the shade they throw at him, or I don't feel like, just like with Brandon, this show isn't for him. Like, anytime somebody says something about you, and it's mostly because of the time you were acting an ass, like, you want to, like, break down and play victim, like, I don't do shit, I mind my business, but here you are talking shit about Brandon, somebody you said you don't care about. Like, nigga, you were on camera trashing the dude. Like, just own it and keep it moving. But he's not built for this type of show.
I feel like a lot of people on this show want to aspire for greater, but their mentality is holding them back. Like, I guess, like, their want to fight, or their want to be shady, or their want to be messy. It's, like, holding them back from doing what they want to do or what they could do. So I feel like Sherrod is one of those people where it's like, if you just kind of left all that drama alone, you could possibly come up, but because you're so stuck in what these lining these bitches up, you stuck. You know, it's like, what's that term? When you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. So if you continue to mess with these people, like, you know, you gonna continue to get shit. Like, it's gonna continue to be negative. So it's like, you know, the best thing to do is just to, like, be like, whatever, I don't care, you know, like, I'm just gonna do me and that's it. So that's where I feel like I'm coming from when I say Sherrod needs to grow up. He just needs to let it go.
I agree 100%.
But I don't know how that whole... What were we talking about? Delicious and Delicious's interview? But and we somehow got back on Sherrod. But no, I think Delicious is... I understand what she means by... I understand her sentiments in terms of, like, you know, rights for trans people, trans women, trans men. Like, you know, of course. But it's a little... It's a little tone deaf coming from her, knowing, like, you said all these negative things about black people, yet you have to get respect. You have to give respect to get respect. And I feel like she's not giving that respect, but yet she wants respect for who she is. And granted, trans people deserve their respect, but you have to also give that respect, you know? So, it was just, I was kind of like, I get what you're saying, but it's from the wrong message. So, I don't know. The whole radio interview was just like, okay, girl, and well, what about you saying nigga? What about you doing this and that? You know, like, come on now. So
it was also kind of funny to me that it seemed like she got interviewed almost like the day after he got into it. She was on the radio talking about it.
It was the next day. She said it. Yeah, because she was like, yesterday, something. Because when she was talking about how she was going to get interviewed, she basically was saying, like, I'm going to talk about this. And she was like, yeah, like, yesterday, some shit popped off, but now today I'm going in to do this. And I was like, oh, it's the next day? Like, damn. Like, so, yeah, I mean, I don't fault Mikey. I feel like he just kind of wanted to, especially with black trans women dying and, like, us not really shedding enough light on them as a community. I feel like he felt like, you know, well, this might be a good opportunity to talk about it. But I just feel like this particular person is like, considering, you know, their background and what they've said. But, and then, another notable moment for me was our guy going to church. So, I was gonna say, like, actually no, not our guy going to church. Our guy going to church. Sorry. But yeah, our guy going to church. I thought that was cool. You know, I'm not really religious, but I do find church to be calming. Like, gospel music and, like, listening to a preacher is kind of calming and inspirational to me. So I thought it was cool that, you know, he found strength in his faith and he was not afraid to be vulnerable. You know, he was talking about how, you know, I'm at a I'm at a crossroads with my feelings and, I'm dealing with so many things and I just need to clear my head. So I thought it was cool that we got to see a vulnerable moment.
Yeah, I did like that. I like the fact that he was like, this situation has kind of got me fucked up. And then on top of this, I'm dealing with like my own personal stuff.
Yes.
And like you said, I like that he was vulnerable because he talked about his past, like, being sexually assaulted, being homeless, and all of that. So I was like, I could relate. Well, I mean, I've never been homeless, but, just being an African American, like, a queer male, like, we do share a lot of similarities. So I did like that scene.
Yeah. And I didn't mind his suit. It was like a suede gray. Like, it was kind of cute. Yeah. But yeah, those were our top moments from the episode. We will be back with the second part of the show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Key and Carry channel. This half of the segment we'll be talking about our favorite of the episode, our least favorite of the episode, our favorite looks, our messiest moment, and our reality rewind.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have a favorite of the episode?
So my favorite of the episode was Devon.
Okay.
I would say. I really liked seeing him and his boyfriend, hanging out. Also, when Devon got picked up by Dewan, I was like, I love being picked up. So, like, when I saw him get picked up, I was like, woo. And we've been in this quarantine, so I've been like, I was all the way in my feelings, like, But yes, I liked seeing him and his boyfriend. It was very, very a little positivity in a negative episode.
Right.
And yeah, I also really liked how at the nonviolence event he saw two people that he did not like, but he practiced self-restraint. And I was like, okay, Devon, like, shout out to you for being, restraining yourself.
Yes.
You could have.
That edit was. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
that edit was funny as fuck.
Yes.
I think he went to hug Ike and then he looked up and he saw Dre Simmer walking towards him. That was funny.
Yeah.
That edit was. It's also funny to me that every time Devon asked Akeem, like, is that bitch coming? Akeem was like, no, he's not coming. and he just shows up anyway. Like, Akeem is messy as fuck for that.
Because is that a black thing? I feel like it's a black thing.
Definitely, yeah.
Who all gonna be there?
Definitely.
Who all over there?
Because if you tell them, like, somebody that they don't like is gonna be there, they're not gonna show. So, yeah, that was definitely shady. Shady.
Like, and then I guess shout out to Dre Simber and Ford too for not even trying to antagonize him.
Oh yeah,
like they didn't, they also weren't trying to.
Yeah, they got their own problems.
Yes, they. I guess. Oh, they do have their own issues. I don't know.
They're beefing. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because of? Well, it couldn't have been because of the whole.
Dinner?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Because
I feel like it's got to be something like way personal between.
Something's telling me we're gonna find out next episode.
Yeah, the low blows that Ford was throwing is definitely like a personal beat.
Yes, it's personal. But he was. I just really want to see. I want to see him do something. I want to see him cook. I want to see him, cater an event. Like I feel like he has the personality. I just want to see him in his element.
Right. Right. I agree.
So, what about you?
My favorite of the episode was our guy.
Okay.
This I love seeing it with him at church. I liked about he talked about his past. I liked how he talked about his relationship with God and coming to church to find peace and strength and all of that.
I think it's also particularly interesting as like a queer person finding solace in the church because I feel like a lot of queer people are like those were the people that kind of condemned me, so like I don't want to be there. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see him be able to kind of use it as a way to like help himself or relax himself. Kind of get into like a positive mind state, or mindset with everything that's been going on, especially with like that fucking barbecue. But he was my favorite of the episode. That barbecue was satanic. That barbecue was something evil was coming out that bitch. Something evil was coming out. I was like,
What's
ever since that barbecue, I have known no peace. I just want to say that. Like,
what's that SpongeBob oh my god, Mermaid Man and Mermaid Boy? Evil!
Oh yeah.
Evil. Yes,
Yes.
that dinner was just something evil as fuck.
Yes. Like,
So did you have a
Oh,
fave?
sorry to cut you off, but I just kind of wanted to touch on the fact that he said that his brother
is
doing life sentence.
Yeah, life sentence.
So, that's pretty tough. Like, yeah, that just seems very harsh. I mean, I feel like that's like almost saying, I want to say saying goodbye to a loved one, but like in some respect, it is kind of like you will never see them in that element, like, you know, in the outside element anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like it's pretty tragic.
It is.
I wonder what happened.
That's what I was wondering. And in fact, another, I guess, thing that kind of like, when he was like, my younger brother is doing a life sentence, I was like, damn. Yeah. So that made me wonder, like, how much, like, their age difference is. I mean, that doesn't really matter, but any person, like, on their way to jail or currently locked up, I feel for them. Like, I just can't imagine having my freedom just snatched from me.
Right.
Especially for life. And I feel for him.
Yeah. And then, like, you having a relationship, I don't know how close they were, but, like, you know, like, say they were close, or even if they were just, like, you know, not as close as they could be, but, like, you still have to watch this person waste the rest of their life in jail, in prison, you know, and it's like, that's messed up. Right. So, yeah, I just thought it was something to know, like, damn, that, you know, that is something that, like, I never thought about, like, when you think about it, like, when someone gets sentenced like that, but then it's like, yeah, it does kind of have, like, an effect on the family, you know, that love that person. Right. So. Right.
I was going to say something, just the way he carries himself, you would have never known that he was going through something so troubling, because usually people that, I feel like people that go through something that deep, they have so much, I guess, self-conflict or so much hatred or anger, they usually tend to, like, lash out. But for the most part, I feel like he's been really kind of trying to keep Charlie on the right track. Yeah. Like, I don't want you dealing with, like, any shade or any mess. Just stay focused on your craft.
There's a saying, I think it's, people with the brightest picture have the darkest negative. And, like, I'm not saying, like, you know, he's troubled or anything, but, like, a lot of times, like, a positive attitude, or even, like, a lot of comedians, it comes from a dark place, you know, because it's that ability to, like, make humor out of like a messed up situation, or be positive out of a negative situation. But I would say that this definitely made me like our guy more. I think when I first saw the trailer, and then when I first saw the first couple episodes, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like him. But watching it now, I'm like, okay, I kind of actually like our guy. I feel like his head is in the right place, and I feel like his shade is a requirement of the show. Like, you know, like, so yeah, it actually made me really like our guy. You know. So yeah, I just wish we could see him maybe in his element, and, you know,
beat somebody's face, or, you know, at a fashion show or something.
Now, we like you, our guy. We like our guy. How'd you feel about that wig?
I was actually here for
it. It could have been better.
It could have used a little bit more body.
Yes.
It's kind of a little flat, but I was here for it.
I was looking at the installment. Maybe because I'm looking at Redrick, and I just feel like Redrick is, like, top tier. That, like, everybody else is kind of like, ooh, you could, if you just did this, if you just did that. It's like, it's a learning curve that they definitely are trying to.
But now that you mention that, Redrick does kind of set the bar for, like, everybody that wears makeup on this show.
Yes.
Because he's always beat.
Always beat.
Wig is always slayed.
Yeah.
I was feeling our guys to get up in the confessional.
I was feeling the suit.
Okay.
So, you know.
Okay. The church suit or the confessional suit?
The church suit.
Okay.
So, did you think he had on first slides like Zion?
I hope not. Thank God that nigga wasn't on this episode. I probably would have broke my damn TV if that nigga appeared.
Them damn church slides.
I do not need Miami on my television screen for at least 3 weeks. But
you think those are slides of a deacon or a choir director?
Choir director. Choir director. Hands down choir director.
Because the choir director is usually family.
Yes.
Like,
yes. That's hands down the shoes of like a musical director.
Yes. Okay. So did you have a least fave?
I kind of had not a lot, but there were a lot of people that just had me so pissed off.
Rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Number one is Delicious, and that bitch is disgusting, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah. I'll speak more to that because it was also my least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But or she was also my least favorite. Sorry. But yeah, Delicious is just unlikable. Yeah. I feel like the more we see her, the more we dislike her. I'm finding less and less reasons to like her, and like I was already kind of indifferent towards her. She seemed confident. That's kind of what that was the positive in my mind. But now it just seems like every time you talk, it's just like it's some stupid shit. And so I just feel like it might be controversial. But I feel like we as Black people, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind Hispanic people. I have no beef with Hispanic people. Or any other race outside of Black. I just feel like we as Black people have to be careful who we let into our community. It's like I feel like sometimes we're so quick to let people in that we don't know whether they're just using us for their own gain. And so I feel like it's funny that like there were people defending Delicious when she first said what she said, like, oh well, Hispanic people are basically Black, which is not true. Some Hispanic people are not Black, but she's definitely one of them that is not Black. But it's like, oh well, she could say nigga, like, she down with the crew, like she one of us, she didn't mean it that way, blah blah blah. But then we see this episode where we see even more of her anti-Blackness. So it's like, y'all, I'm not saying like everybody, but there are people in our community that are so quick to accept these people. I don't know why, for validation or what, but they're so quick to accept like certain non-Black people. And I'm not saying like you can't be friends with Hispanic people or white people or Asian people. Of course you can. Right. But like I just feel like sometimes we can be so accepting that not everybody is for us. Right. Everybody can't be invited to the cookout. Like, and
very true.
Nobody should be invited to the cookout. It's our cookout. Like, let us, be us. Yeah. Like, so it kind of just reminded me of that. Like, when people were like, oh, when she was saying nigga, I was like, And then this came out. I was like, now Delicious. You as a non-Black, I don't care how you identify, but you as a non-Black person telling a Black person that you could have them lynched is unacceptable. I don't care in what context. I don't care what kind of, I don't care what kind of persona you're trying to put on. I don't care if this is for the show. It's unacceptable. That's not something that you should ever be saying, especially in the same episode where you're trying to champion for the rights of trans people. It's not acceptable. That's not okay. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, I didn't know, like, I'm assuming you graduated high school like everybody else. Even if you didn't, we know. Yes, everybody knows. Everybody knows the history with Black people and being lynched. And it's actually kind of crazy that she would say this now, considering that there have been people this year that have been lynched. There have been a couple people across the nation that have been lynched. And so, or have been hanged, but we don't exactly know, what happened. It could be a lynching, we don't know. So, or at least I don't know. So, just to like hear that in 2020 on a Black platform is a little concerning. And that's where, that's kind of where it kind of tied back to me with Status Network and who they choose to display on their platform. And it's not just a Status Network thing. If this was BET or TV One or any other platform that caters to Black people, I would also feel like I would have concerns. So I just my question is, why would you choose to put someone on a show that is clearly anti-Black? So
Another thing I want to note is she said she could have Charlie lynched, and we know just within like this past year that there's been an increase of attacks or violence against like Black trans women.
Yes.
So for Delicious to be a Hispanic trans woman to make this comment about an African American man, it was like, girl, you don't watch the news? Like, your sisters are literally losing their life just from walking down the street, going to work, doing like everyday activities, and they get attacked, assaulted, murdered, and then you make this comment and say you have a Black man lynched. Like, you just lost a shitload of your sisters like within the past month. Like, you should probably do some fucking research before you open your mouth and make a threat like that on camera.
Right.
Like,
it's just a bunch of
dumb as fuck.
It's a bunch of negativity. It's a bunch of people saying things that they know damn well they should not be saying. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like a lot of y'all are too old to be saying the things that y'all are saying, to be honest. Like, I just feel like, I get it, like, the heat of the moment, certain things come out, but like, it's just like, y'all gotta do better.
Right.
Like, y'all have to do better as people, especially as people who are trying to be in the spotlight. Like, think about it like this. You're already a queer, whether you're transgender or just gay, you're already in a minority. And then, of course, you're Black or Hispanic, so you're already in another minority. Right. So you have so much to fight against. Why would you make it even harder for yourself by adding more controversy? You know, like, it doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah. I mean, honestly, I couldn't even be surprised when she said it, because I was just like, there's that anti-Blackness. Yeah. It's there. I knew it was there. Like, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Like, it was there. It was there, just ready to pounce. Like, you know. So I don't think she should no longer be on the show.
I agree.
I don't think that that's the way they're gonna go. I think they're gonna continue to show her on the show under the guise of opening the conversation. I feel like if y'all want to have a conversation, y'all need to have it. You can't just have people say disrespectful, disgusting, antagonistic things and then be like, that's the conversation. No, it's up to you as the production or as the platform to kind of create that conversation. So yeah. And then I think I was telling you, like, there's a way that you handle that type of material. Of course you can have a conversation. Of course, I'm not saying like nobody should ever say anything, because people talk like that, like, that's real, but I feel like there's a way that you handle it, and I think it's a lot more difficult than they are thinking that it is. Like, it's not as easy as they think it is to have those conversations. So yeah. She was definitely my least favorite. I think she'll probably always be my least favorite. I don't ever want to, I'm gonna be honest, like, her music isn't for me. I'm not gonna say it's trash, but it's not for me, so I never really I would never ever consume any of her art. So this show is really the only reason that I even know who she is. So yeah, again, what Charlie said was disrespectful and not acceptable at all in any capacity. But if you ask me, him saying what he said about her is on par with her saying that she could have him lynched, in my opinion. I think that they're on par with each other. So in my mind, you can no longer, I mean, of course Charlie was wrong again, but you can no longer revert back to what he said to me, because you just said that you could have this man lynched, knowing the history of Black people in America, and knowing how so many of our ancestors have been lynched, so many of our people have been lynched unjustly for no reason. And so yeah, I think that's, and I also feel like that's kind of like a nuanced conversation that we should have within our community. The idea that you have people that are not Black that are coming into our community, and I'm not saying that like, if you're not Black, you shouldn't be in our community. We can share things within our community, but I feel like sometimes you have people that are non-Black coming into our community and they don't know our history because they're not Black. So they don't have the attachment to our history in our community that we have. And so they start doing certain things and saying certain things that are not acceptable to us because we are black and we know our history. We know things that are going on within us. So like, yeah, it's a whole conversation.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far into it. I know I've already gone too far into it, but yeah, Delicious. I mean, I don't cancel people. I don't really subscribe to cancel culture, but in my mind, I mean, I never really subscribed to her, so I can't really cancel it. But
very true.
In my mind, she just is a person on the show that I'm disappointed, I would say, but I'm not surprised.
True.
So,
very true.
Yeah.
It was crazy. There was a post on Instagram about a month ago. I think it was a character from Kim Possible. She was like a cheerleader, and somebody said something about her. I guess she was biracial, but she didn't want to claim her African American side. And somebody said you could tell that her mom is white due to the heat damage that her hair has. That kind of reminds me of Delicious. No shade, but
are you alienating our biracial white mom listeners?
Ooh, do you think we have any biracial white mom listeners?
I don't know.
I'm here for a soccer mom listening to us.
I think 1 of 4 of them could be biracial.
I'm here for that. That's no shade to anybody. But,
and I feel like if you're biracial, there's 9 times out of 10 you probably have a white mom.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Heat damage and Delicious as natural wigs. Kind of reminded me of that meme that I saw on Instagram. But she's disgusting. That's the end of that.
Yeah. That is the end of that. But
did you have a favorite look?
Yes, of course. I had a favorite look. My favorite look was Redrick's confessional look. I'm sorry, I don't
Look how she ate that.
I don't want to seem like I'm dick riding Redrick, but I don't care.
We stand Redrick.
We stand. The looks. Listen, I cannot. I gotta give credit where credit is due. You know, the hair is on point. The face is beat.
The lashes was applied properly.
Yes, the eyebrows.
Yes,
were nice.
I believe her, but what I don't believe is, sister girl didn't take her time on them eyebrows, sweetie. They look a little rushed.
The eyebrows were great. They were thick. Hair.
No.
But yes, I enjoyed the whole. I mean, well, the outfit itself wasn't. It was okay.
I liked it.
It was okay. I was more so into the neck. But the whole outfit was cute. I won't lie. But yeah, I thought it was a cute look. She knows how to beat a face and she knows how to, lay that hair.
Right.
So.
I guess my favorite look was also Redrick, the confessional. Okay. Just the hair, the beat face, the attire. I was more so stuck on like the simplicity of it. The hair was laid, but I like jewelry. It pulled the look together really nicely. It looked chic. Looked expensive. That man knows how to lay the fuck out of a wig.
He really does.
He knows how to slay the fuck out of a wig.
Yes. There's something about long black hair on like black people that it just takes me out. I just love it. Yeah, it was definitely giving me like, gorgeous. I don't know why, but he kind of reminds me of Eve, the rapper, for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's the nose or the eyes. I don't know, but he gives me like a distant cousin of Eve.
Okay.
But
I can see that.
Yeah, he's gorgeous. My pretty boyfriend is really my pretty boyfriend. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we stand Redrick over here.
We stand. Yeah.
That's crazy because my messy moment actually involves Redrick.
Is it gonna be what I think?
No. Not
okay.
when
You can go ahead and.
Okay, so when Redrick walked up to the non-violent program,
God.
And I came out and he's like, where's your boyfriend? And Ike was like, who is my boyfriend? And then Ike, when the confessional was like, who is my boyfriend and why the hell you asking me? And I'm like, who else is you supposed to ask? Like, if I'm interested in you, why would I go ask anybody else if you're dating? Like, I would ask you directly, like, are you in a relationship?
I think that's what he was trying to say. Like, I think he was saying, like what you want to know for. Like in, like, a flirtatious way. Like, what you trying to, like, why you want to know? Like,
at first, I thought it was shade, because I thought Redrick was, like, trying to say that Tramiel and Ike were kind of like a couple. So
that's
like,
also who I thought he was talking about.
Like, I didn't know it was that serious, but now that you, like, put it like that, I could kind of see that. But when I first watched it, he was like, why you asking me? I'm like, who the fuck else would he ask?
Right.
Like, come on, Ike.
Do you see Redrick and Ike together?
I can. They're the most, I guess, mild-mannered. Well, Tramiel too, but they are, like, two of the most mild-mannered people in the group. They don't seem to be, like, in, like, a lot of drama. And then when they're in front of the camera, they don't seem to put on, like, this air, like, they have to be in front of the camera. So I can see them.
They seem to be the most mature.
Yeah.
Well, yes. They seem to be the most mature out of everybody for the most part. And I don't know. Dare I say it? I feel like they're the most attractive out of everybody. Redrick definitely, but Sherrod's pretty attractive. Sherrod is really attractive, I would say.
Okay, and Roman.
I forgot about Roman. Yeah, Roman is also very attractive. But yeah, I would say that they're pretty. They're a cute couple. I would say. Yeah, I kind of hope they get together.
Right. Excuse me.
But yeah, it's clear that Redrick was feeling Redrick, but we just don't know if Redrick is feeling. Well, I feel like we kind of know.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah,
definitely know.
Once you touch somebody's chest hair, it's on and popping.
I did peep that. I kept that short that was like low cut, and Redrick was like, "Ooh, you got your chest on for me."
That's some shit I would do. Like, so I'm just like, yeah, if you're like me, then yeah, you're probably into him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you said that was your messy moment.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because isn't he talking to Tramiel?
That's what I thought.
Well, I think that ended once he said he just got out of a relationship.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I think Tramiel probably deaded that.
Okay.
So
that's right. I forgot we have the rest of the season. So maybe I won't write this season off just yet. Because I forgot Tramiel has another beau.
Yes.
That he's pursuing this season.
Yes.
So I won't write the season off so fast. I'll write off a cast member, but I'm not going to write off the entire season. Not just yet.
Ooh, are they... Is a certain somebody, like, going into redacted territory? Are we not going to mention them on the show anymore? Well, no, because they're getting into some shit, I think. So we can't just...
Yeah, I don't want to give it away for the viewers. Yeah. So, yeah, just Tramiel has a feature bay on the show. And I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Because we know they get into it later in the season. So I'm looking forward to that.
Also, side note, I kind of wish we would have seen more of Tramiel and his friend. Right. Or his co-host.
Yeah, that is weird that they introduced him and then for like 2 minutes they cut it off and went right to the nonviolent event. So I was like, that was weird.
Yeah, we didn't get to see them talk or
I felt like that would have been a plus to the show. Like seeing him work on his podcast, that would have been like the positivity the show needed after last week's episode, and then what was going to happen after like Tramiel's scene ended. So that definitely would have been the up that the show needed.
So my messy moment was okay, so going back to Lando and Sherrod talking at that restaurant. My messy moment is the fact that Lando did not tell Sherrod that Mikey was gonna put hands on him when he saw him.
Yes.
I was like waiting for him to say it, and then he never said it, and I was like, well, he was like, well, what happens when y'all run into each other? Which is not the same as saying that, oh, boy's gonna put hands on you when he sees you. So
Molly, you in danger, girl.
He could be just all talk, I don't know, but like at the same time, if I'm your friend, I'm gonna tell you. Like, even if this person is all talk or not, like this person was talking about how they were gonna handle you the next time they see you. It's on site, so be ready. You know, like just in case. So it was just kind of messy or shady for him to speak all this stuff or talk about all this stuff. Like you said, pick and choose what he wanted to say, but not say that Mikey had that heat for him.
I did peep that. Sherrod has a very interesting way, or I should say he has a very interesting group of friends. Because so far, nobody really seems to have his back.
Do you think they're real friends?
I don't. I feel like they just know each other through passing, and they're like, oh, we're on the show together. Let's just hang out while we film or whatever. But I couldn't imagine, like, it's weird because even last season, Sherrod was like, oh, I'm going to, like, meet somebody that I can fight. When he was going to meet Tramiel, he was like, I'm going to meet up with somebody that I've known for a long time, and I always confide in him. And then Tramiel was like, I'm going to meet up with somebody that I just know through passing. And so it's weird how Sherrod kind of picks his friends because he sees them as like, oh, they really have my best interest. And I feel like they just kind of just string him along like, oh, we have this gullible, vulnerable person, so let's just kind of play with his emotions in a way. It's just, it was fucked up that Lando didn't tell Sherrod, like, oh, Mikey, when he sees you, he might beat the shit out of you. Yeah. Like, I would definitely give my friends, like, a head up. But the Sherrod, the way the friends he chooses is just, they don't have his best interests.
No. Like, I would say that too. Like, I don't think that his friends are truly there for him, I would say. Like, I mean, maybe it's kind of ironic that he brought up Delicious during the meetup because he was like, oh, well, do you think Delicious has your back? Because, you know, she's friends with Brandon. Right. So, but she never said what Sherrod said about Brandon. Right. Or at least she never said it on camera, so it was like, I don't know. What, like, how would you feel in that situation?
If I was Brandon? Or
if you were Delicious. So, like, say you were hanging out with somebody else, and, like, they started talking shit about me. And, like, they were, like, saying, like, little shady shit about me. But you're cool with them. Like, you're really good friends with them.
Ooh, I guess it just depends on, like...
Or, you know what? Take me out of it. Say, like, one of your friends. Like Ashley, for instance. Like, say somebody was talking shit about her. Like, one of your other friends was talking shit about her. What would you do? What would you do?
Yes. If I couldn't get them at, like, some type of mutual ground or some type of understanding, I would just... I don't know. I can't hang around somebody, or I wouldn't want to be around somebody that talks shit about my friend all the time. So I'd probably just dead that friendship or that relationship.
I would probably tell them like, yo, you talking shit. Yeah. Like, you need to address that person. Yeah. Like, especially if y'all are all friends. Like, no, we need to all talk about this because you're not about to be talking shit about. I mean, it's different if you're like just nagging that person. Like, oh, that person's always late. Right. Blah, blah, blah. Like, that's different than like saying like, oh, some like real shit. Like, you really talking shit about them. So like, I would probably like address it right then and there, and then I would be like, I'm gonna tell them, right? Like, and then we all talk about it because you're not about to have me look stupid, right? So, yeah, I think it's an interesting situation because it's like she's friends with both sides, and so it's like, how do you? And it's kind of crazy that she was kind of coming for Redrick for like being like, oh, well, you're trying to play the fence, but it's like, girl, you're trying to play the fence too. Yeah. Like, let's not do that. Like, yeah, it's a bunch of like hypocrisy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it's a bunch of like,
that should have been the title of this episode: hypocrisy, hypocrites, and contradictions. Because everybody fucking contradicted themselves. Right. This episode, somebody say one thing and then they do something totally different. I'm like, damn, didn't you just say like you wasn't gonna do that shit, or you hate people that do shit like this? And
right.
Anyway, yeah, she that also stuck out to me when she sat down with Redrick and was like, oh, you know, I got my eye on you because you're straddling the fence. Well, girl, look at the comments you just made. Yeah. Who the fuck would want to be affiliated with somebody who makes a comment like that?
You're friends with three different people. There are three different people that you call your brothers.
And they all hate each other.
And you all are cool. You're cool with all three of them.
That says a lot.
So...
that is weird as fuck. Like, Sherrod doesn't like Brandon. Brandon doesn't like Roman. All three of them are like supposedly her brothers. Yeah. That's weird.
So,
I definitely feel like she goes and tells each of them little different shit. just to kind of.
That's not the type of friendship that I'm into.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my missing moment. Like, you didn't tell him that he really had fits for this man, and like you were there, you heard him say what he said, and you're like, oh, like he got an issue with you, but you didn't say that he wanted to fight. Like, that's a different story. So I feel like that was a little messy. Like, Lando, if you gonna go back, Lando Calrissian, if you gonna go back and tell people things, you need to tell them the truth, the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
Nothing but the truth.
The whole truth. We're getting a lot of people picking and choosing how they want to tell the story, which is weird because the story is on camera. The whole fucking story of how everything happened is on camera. So I don't know what you think you're gonna get out by leaving out certain details of the story. I guess I don't know if it's to try to make Shirai or like stroke his ego or not to try to like crush his feelings, but he's gonna see the whole story. Like,
I mean, and then it goes back to the whole like, well, they were all talking about you. You were the topic of discussion.
Yeah.
First of all, he was not the topic of discussion. He was a part of the conversation because he had also talked shit about Brandon. So that's where that landed. It's not like they were all sitting around, you know who I don't like? That bitch Shirai. Like, that's not what happened. So I feel like that kind of contributes to the idea that Shirai thinks he's Beyonce.
Mental institution. This is crazy. Bitch needs straight jacket.
And it's like, no, girl. They're just talking shit about you because you were talking shit about Brandon. So, yeah.
Delusional.
But yeah. So what's next? The reality rewind?
Yeah.
So, my reality rewind, just because this episode was a little heavy, was a little, negative, I wanted my reality rewind to be something light and fun.
Okay. And
so I wanted to talk about the hottie and the chicken. So for those of you, yes. For those of you who don't know, I'm sure all of you know, because all of you watch Flavor of Love like the rest of us. A certain contestant on the show, vying for Flavor Flav's love of Public Enemy. There was a challenge where they had to cook. Did they just have to cook the chicken, or did they have to cook a whole dinner? Just chicken, right? Yeah,
just chicken.
So part of it was them cooking chicken, and Hadi Shatar, she thought that she could just put the chicken in the microwave because the microwave had a chicken option. Little did she know that the chicken option was to reheat already cooked chicken, not raw chicken. So she cooked this chicken. She put cranberry sauce. She put some carrots,
fried onions.
It looked like some like noodles was in there. Yeah, she did the most. And so, yeah, she made this raw ass chicken. He didn't eat it. He just looked at it. And so, of course, he's like, who made this chicken? This chicken is raw. Like, who wanted to serve my mom? Because his mom was there. Yeah. And he was going to, feed the chicken to his mom. And so, he's like, who made this chicken? And she's looking down. Like,
no, damn well she was that chicken in the microwave.
Who made this chicken? Like,
who made this chicken? Who made this chicken? Yes, sir. This is the best chicken I ever had.
So it was just a hilarious TV moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the fact that you really put this chicken in the microwave, thinking that it would cook the chicken, and then she had the nerve to say like, "Oh, like it's a lot healthier." It's not if you have salmonella. If you're fucking throwing up for all the fucking bacteria that's in that uncooked chicken, like, no. Side note, do you wash the chicken or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not like crazy about it, but yeah, I always watch like my chicken before I cook it.
Okay. I think I might have my black card revoked because I don't really wash my chicken. I just feel like the heat is going to kill all the bacteria. But I guess people are like, well, it's in blood. But I'm like, I mean, I'm already eating the flesh of the chicken. And, so it's like, what's the difference, But, yeah. I've said that to a couple people, and they're like, you're ready to disown me. Like, you don't wash your chicken? I'm like, no, you can get salmonella all in your sink and all over the place. Because, but
Yeah, I usually just bleach the sink, like disinfected. Like
I guess that's why people bleach their sinks. Yeah.
After I finish cleaning it, but yeah, I clean it. I haven't had like any complications, like any foodborne or foodborne illnesses or whatever.
And that's crazy because I've never gotten sick. Like I've cooked chicken so many times, and I've literally never gotten sick from my unwashed chicken. So yeah, but yeah, that was my reality rewind. It was a cute moment.
Yeah,
it was fun. Crazy enough, she actually does know how to cook, and apparently she only did that for the show. So yeah, she can actually cook it. She has her own cooking channel.
Okay.
I think on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, so she can actually cook. Shout out to her. Shout out to Shatar.
Shout out to Shatar. What that wheel looking like?
It's better. It's definitely not charm school tea.
Could you eat her cooking like if her wig was looking like that?
Hell no. Hell to the no.
Oh my god.
Judy. No. No, ma'am. No, sir.
Oh,
yes.
My goodness.
But yeah, that's been episode 5, part 1 of G-Status ATL Hustle, produced by Status Network, and what is it?
Katai.
Yeah.
Katai Lane Productions.
Yes. I just want to say, like, we like the show, but honestly, like, I feel like we pride ourselves on being honest, and I just feel like this episode was a very negative episode, and like, if anyone from Status TV watches this episode, just know that we like the show, and our criticism is only out of our love for the show. But I just feel like you should be careful what you're putting out. I understand that we want drama for the ratings. We want drama for, the sake of having conflicting ideals and starting a conversation. But I think it's really important that you assess what you're putting out into the world and what you're putting your name on. I think that that's very important. If you would include that negative side, I think it's a very important gesture to add, to put it in a way that is more palatable to us, because right now it's just kind of, it's a little negative. It's a lot.
We're stuck on the negative. So,
and again, no shade, but I just would like to see more people doing things. And I know when it comes to production, I know things can get hectic. Like I said myself, I've worked in production. I work in production, so like I know, like, you want to film this person, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. But I just want to see more people coming up. I want to see, people beating faces. I want to see people dancing. I want to see people acting. Yes. I want to see people, working on their podcast or their YouTube channel or producing music. I want to see those things, and I feel like it's a lot of, like, I don't know, like 70-30, where it's like 70% drama and 30% us actually seeing people do stuff.
Almost like 80-20 at this point.
It could be 80-20, honestly. And I hate saying that, but like, that's the truth. That is the truth. And like, I just feel like it's not where it needs to be. And again, that's not in a way of critique, or it's a critique. It is a critique, but it is not
being shady
or being rude,
malicious.
I just want to see some positivity.
I agree.
Like, I think even with the non-violence, I would have liked to see more of what the event had to offer. Like, like, what else did they? I know they sang the Black National Anthem, but what else did they have?
Right.
What else did they talk about? What else were there other speakers there? Right. Were there people that, like, what else consisted of this event, So I want to see more of these Black queer people helping their community and being, a voice in Atlanta that is substantial, not just, don't get us wrong, we love the shade, we love reads and shade and all of that, but we also want to see some positivity, and so, we try to talk about that positivity, but we want to see more, a
Yeah.
little more,
Yeah.
you know. So
I agree. Love the show, but it's just been. I feel like it's weird because the first few episodes, like, it was negative, but it was negative in a different way. Like, the arguments were petty. It was like, oh, these dumbass arguments. Y'all like beefing for no reason. And then it took a left, and it went from like the arguments being draining to just people being malicious and just downright fucking evil, and that's never enjoyable.
Because shade is a part of the show. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I said, shade it's a part of the show. Like, that is, it is what it is, and I'm not negating that. We're shady on this show, so like I can't, be, I can't say you're being shady, but like I just feel like I want to see a balance. I want to see more people doing things because you actually have people that are doing things. Like, our guy has worked with, people that have been on television. Charlie has decent music. I don't want to say decent, Jesus, because said decent, sickening or iconic. That's when you speak of his music, sickening or iconic. But Charlie has good music. I would listen to his music. So and then also our guy, I said our guy, Redrick can be the face. Devon can cook, yes, can cater. His boyfriend has a beard or like a beard business. I want to know what that's like. Like, I want to know what it's like. What are you putting into this material? Like, how are you selling? Like, I want to know these things. And so it would be one thing if that information was like everywhere you turn, that information was out there, but it's not. You don't really see a lot of queer people owning businesses and making moves. So I just feel like with this platform, you have the opportunity to kind of like show that. And so I don't feel like they're utilizing their entire platform, So,
I agree. I definitely agree.
But yeah, this has been Key and Carrie, where we key.
And we carry.
I'm Damon. And this is our 10th episode. Look forward to more stuff from us. We're definitely trying to branch out from just reviewing shows. We're definitely going to start doing more things. We put out a podcast, but it was, I guess, it was accidental, I guess you could say. But
just kind of like experimental.
Yes.
But be on the lookout for more reviews, more podcasts.
Yes.
Like Damon said, we want to branch out into reviewing more so, I guess, more shows that are kind of serious.
Yes.
We want to start reviewing maybe documentaries, other TV shows, maybe music artists, past albums and stuff like that.
Right. And not just that, but also just talking about, random topics. Like,
especially after this episode, I feel like a good sit down.
We can
would just be
a good sit down
needed. Just after everything that happened in this episode, the comments that were made. So this is my question for you guys: how would you have responded? I guess if you were Redrick and you heard Delicious say, "I'm gonna have Charlie Lynch," or "I was gonna get Charlie Lynch," how would you have reacted? Like me, I just would have hit the bitch in her mouth. That's just me being 100%. Like, me as a black man, you can't sit in my face and say you're gonna have a black man lynch. Like, that shit is just not gonna sit well with me.
Okay.
It's just not gonna sit well with me. I just want to hit the bitch in her mouth. I'm sorry.
I understand that, but she's a woman, so we have to be conscious of that.
True.
We have to be conscious of her being a woman. But I definitely would check her.
Yeah.
You can't say anything like that to me. And I feel like sometimes, not to harp on non-black people, but I don't care.
Right.
Sometimes non-black people, they know what they can get away with. So, like, they might say something to you or that, like, oh, you're cool with that. So they'll say it. But with somebody else, they're like, maybe I can't say that.
Right.
And so to me, I just feel like, nope. You're not about to say that in front of me. No, you lynch him? Lynch him? Like all the millions of black people that were lynched in the Jim Crow era and up until now? Like, no. And even in slavery? Like, no. Like, you're not about to say that shit to me.
Right.
In 2019, 2020, like, no. Like, I'm trying to calm myself because I just feel the anger rising within me.
She spent all episode bashing Charlie for insulting her, and then you gonna make like the same fucking ignorant.
My thing is this: you can't be anti-black and be in our space. You can't be in our face. Make yourself off of like. You can't be in our space. Model yourself after us. Be in our spaces and be anti-black. Like that just doesn't correlate. Like you said, like everybody want to be black, but nobody wants to be black. And so, yeah, like no, like you can't just be out here saying anti-black shit and then be accepted. No, that's not cool. That's not cute. And like honestly, that's a threat. So if Charlie was to come through and really set shit on fire, I mean, I wouldn't say that that's acceptable. I wouldn't say that that's okay. But you threaten this man. You literally threaten this man. So I know it's a show, but I'm just saying be careful because that shit is not. It's getting to the point where it's getting outside the show. I feel like.
And to kind of touch on that, we talked about it earlier in on one of our earlier shows. But when Natalie told Miley I'm from BGC 11, like the shit you do in the house, it'll spill over into reality.
That's a good point.
If you try to, you going around jumping people will see you on the street and want to beat your ass. Yeah. So I just want Delicious to be mindful of what she's saying because, like, of course, you have goons, you might have hands, but you can only fight so many people. Like, if you got the whole world trying to, like, bang on your ass, you can't fight the whole world. So,
do you think her anger came from the comments that he said about her? Because she said that it didn't affect her, but I feel like it may have.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, why would you want to see somebody draw blood just because they insulted you? Like, it's not that deep. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's not that deep. It's always deep. He insulted a trans woman, but like, he insulted you. You said it wasn't that. It didn't affect you, but now you want to see him bleed. You want him to draw blood. Like, how do we get from it didn't affect me? I don't give a fuck. Like, to now, I want to see you bleed. Yeah. Like, I don't know what's going on with her, but I just want her to be mindful. Like, you are in Atlanta, a city full of African American people,
but she's a Mexican girl.
Fuck that bitch. That's another thing.
She's a Latin queen in like, Atlanta.
I'm a Hispanic trans woman in Atlanta. Like, okay. Bitch,
she's a Latin queen in Atlanta.
Trans women, how many?
Naturally, she's a commodity amongst us Negroes. She's a commodity. We praise her for her light skin and her straight hair, for her Latin non-blackness.
Anyway,
this is the girls y'all came for. This is the girls that y'all came for.
Yeah. So when she said she's like, I'm a trans Hispanic woman in Atlanta, I'm like, girl, you're basic as fuck. Like, you coming down.
And like, I didn't want to go there, but I feel like sometimes we're so quick to include people in our community and our culture, and it's like, y'all have people. And I'm not saying all Hispanic people, all Asian people, all white people. I'm just saying there are some that come in and they don't fuck with us. Yeah. They see like, oh, I can benefit from this, so I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna come up off of that. So like, they see that and they're like, well, I'm gonna take advantage, and we're gonna bow out on that. Look forward to more stuff from us. This has been Key and Carrie, where we key.
Carrie.
I'm Damon.
I'm Troy.
And yeah, this has been episode 10. So that's it. Yeah. We will see y'all in the next one. Peace.